Do some tutorial videos, they said. It would be fun, they said. What can go wrong? Hello everybody, and welcome to our second part of the weight transfer tutorial video. So today we're gonna show you a little bit on how to set up the springs and ride heights and maybe the brake gear, stuff like that, in order to control the weight transfer and hopefully make you even a little bit faster in the process. And to do so, I have chosen one of the most difficult combinations I could have ever chosen, the Ford Escort RS from 1974 and the Zandvoort circuit. Now, really, this is a really hard combination of car and track. I'm gonna also use the H shifter to make it even worse. Why I do all of that? Because I like it. That's all. If you're having trouble doing whatever I do, then feel free to use the paddles, maybe enable the ABS, stuff like that. But the main principles apply, and most importantly, this car will show us really well what is happening with weight transfer, what springs or ride height to choose, what the circuit might force you to choose, and stuff like that. So we're gonna use a base start setup here, which is nothing less than a correct final gear ratio that I have already tried to see what the car needs for the long straight, and the correct tire pressures are usually a little bit asymmetric, but when the tires heat up, everything comes and works correctly. You might forgive me for that, guys. I have moved the pedals up down here because honestly I hate it in the middle. I really hate it. This combo is already pretty difficult, and having the pedal up in the middle of my field of view really deconcentrates me, and I can't drive well enough. Alright, so here we go. Amazing Cosworth engine up to 9,000 RPM and needs lots of revs. And while I'm hitting the tires, we can have a look at the power curve and see what's going on. As you can see, this engine doesn't have lots of torque. You need to give it lots of revs, and obviously the power comes at around 9,000 RPM, so it really needs all the revs you can give. Right, let's go back now. So I'm already half lap ahead. Now, if you remember the previous video, we tried to kill Maurizio, but he survived. But most importantly, we tried to show you what happens when weight shifts forwards, rearwards, or left or right, depending if you are if you are turning or if you are braking or accelerating. I'm trying to warm up the tires right now, but as you have probably already seen, this car needs lots of inputs from me. I have to work really hard with the steering wheel and with my pedals in order to point it to the right direction, and most importantly keep it there. Obviously the old tires play a little bit of it's a reason behind this, but most importantly this car has a very soft default setup, because remember the tracks back in the 1972 were very bumpy, and this car also was doing lots of rally races, so yeah, soft suspension was important. But let's see how it handles here in Zandvoort. See how much I have to use the steering wheel to keep the car in the right direction, and still I have problems hitting the apex in most of the turns. Every time I'm going in to hit the apex, then the car starts to rotate far too much. I have to control to correct the oversteer, and then I'm losing the apex. So it's always a fight between understeer, oversteer, and then oversteer and understeer again. It is not a very stable car. Sure, it is amazing. I mean, if you want, you can throw it around and have plenty of fun, because once it starts to slide, it is very controllable, and you can have plenty of fun. But obviously, if you do so, you're losing lots of time. So if you try to get in, see how problems I have. If you try to keep this car under control, the issue is that you have to work a lot to do whatever you want with this car. So let's see a little bit the replay here on our last lap. Alright, let's go inside. Second gear. You see, I'm trying to keep the apex, but I can't. The car just slides away, the front end washes out. Do you remember when I was showcasing with Maurizio that if the weight is too much on the front wheels, it will simply wash out and you're gonna have understeer. Look here again, I can't go into the apex, I'm missing it. And when I'm trying to keep it there, then it oversteers and I have to correct or even raise my foot from the accelerator. Again here, I'm trying to go in, but it oversteered too much and I have problems keeping the correct line for the car. Here again, turning oversteer, understeer, losing the apex, lots of steering wheel movement. Again, you see, I'm thinking that the car is pointing to the correct place, but then again it just washes out and I'm having understeer and I can't be precise enough. Here I'm trying to put the car in, obviously lots of oversteer, losing time, and lots of wheel spin too. Anyway, so here we are, we have these problems, lots of weight shift. Let's have a look from the outside a little bit to see what the car is doing into the braking zones. Let's see here. You see, whoa, lots of pits and lots of roll too. Whoa, yeah. Alright, you see how much rolling there is and how much the suspension moves around. Brake again. Yeah, lots of pitch movement and rolling. Right. And from the outside, yeah, spectacular to look at, but obviously we see that we have plenty of problems keeping the car pointed where we want to. So let's go back to the pits and let's start to play a little bit with the suspension. So the first thing I want to show you is the ride height, and I will explain to you why. So the front ride height is 150 millimeters, the rear ride height is 230 millimeters, more or less. So what I'm going to do now is get the wheel rate front and rear as stiff as possible, all the way up to the maximum stiffness of the front and rear wheel rate. So the springs are much stiffer right now. Obviously, doing so means that the springs are less compressed when the car stays relaxed like that, and so the right height is higher right now. What we want to do is get the right height back where it was, at around 150 millimeters. Why you want to do that? Because we want the wishbones, the arms of the wishbones, at the same position as before. Because the position of the suspension arms is critical to the suspension geometry. Which means that if you leave them as they are and their position changes, you're going to have a different geometry, and this could also provoke different things to the handling. So we want the suspension arms as they were, and we just want a stiffer springs and suspension all around. So again, much stiffer springs and the same right height as before, so the suspension arms go to the same place as before. Okay, let's go driving. No torque whatsoever at low revs, but listen to this engine sing when you're pushing it to the limits. Way, a bit of traction loss there, but tires are still cold, so let's wait and see. Gonna do another lap. Way, oversteer again. Alright, wow, look at this entry. That was easy, much easier than before. Oversteer into the turn in. We had that before, but yeah, this time the car stayed where I wanted to. Oh, I'm almost hit it in the correct apex in there. Right. Second gear. That seems already much more interesting than before. So what is happening right now is that first of all, we will do a simplification. We will assume that the weight transfer is identical in terms of, you know, dimension. Okay, so the same weight transfer. It's not correct. It's not what is happening normally, but it is easier for us to understand what happens. So if you keep in your mind that the weight transfer is identical, you only have to figure out what happens in terms of how fast it occurs, in terms of its speed of the weight transfer. So same weight transfer, but with the stiffer springs, everything happens much faster. Okay, and if you remember from the video with Maurizio, when the weight transfer occurs much faster, it means that the car reacts faster and have more precision to what I'm asking from the car to do. But this also means that the car gives the feedback much faster, and I also have to accommodate it, so I have to be much faster with my inputs. And if you notice, even though we are just at the second lap, I have to turn my wheel much less than before. I still fight the car because, you know, in the end it is an old car, so you have to fight it. But I keep my steering movements much less than before and more limited, right? There's not those big steering movements. It seems as if the car stays more to the direction where I point it and keeps the line. On the other hand, since I still have to move the steering wheel around to force the car to do whatever I want, you will notice that I'm doing much faster movements. They are not as wide as before, They're not as many as before, but the ones I do, they are much faster. Seems like if I am more nervous in the in my driving style, and it is exactly what happened. See how much easier the car follows the line here. You see, I'm staying much more time. Wow, that was a fast lap time already. Front lockups. See how much more time I stay pointing the car to the correct direction, but when I have to do small corrections, I had to be much faster, much faster, because the car reacts much faster too. Also, I have some traction loss problems and oversteer, probably because the stiffer setups makes the rear end react more and losing traction more. Oh, the gearbox. Sure, the car is more interesting to drive, harder probably, but certainly faster, much faster than before. You see how I have to be faster in my steering inputs, but again, look at how much easier it is to follow a specific line. Front end turn the scene. Right, very good, very good. And the lap times is already much better. Faster movements, sure, but probably faster lap times too. Oops, I snapped the limit of the track there. My line wasn't good here, but still I think I'm already faster than before. Isn't that great? Right, yeah, 2.1 second, 646. Let's see this last lap from the inside, right? And actually, no, let's see it from the outside and have a look what is happening to the car in terms of pitch and roll and all that stuff. So I'm accelerating here, much better than before. Not much roll happening, not much pitch happening. Let's go a little bit forward and see the same braking zone as the last time before the chicane. So let's see here how much this goes down and how much this goes up. And brake, yeah, that's not bad. There's still pitch, but not as much as before. So, okay, the problems I had is that I had some lockups in the brake, in the front wheels, and this is probably because, as we said, the weight transfer happens way too fast now, and it doesn't give me enough time to react, and doesn't give enough time to the tires to react and accept the load. So what happens right now is that because of the stiffness of the front end, I have to brake a little bit sooner instead of later, because I have to be more careful with my brake pressure. So what I'm going to do now is to try and make the car a little bit less nervous, a little bit maintain the precision of this setup, but just a tiny bit less stiff, so the car becomes less nervous, and work a little bit with the braking bias and see if I can eliminate a little bit of those front lockups. So in the suspension tabs, I'm going to do just one click less at the front, and another click less at the rear of the front and rear wheel rates. So nothing too serious, just a click less. The front and rear ride height have remained more or less the same, so no problems on that. And on the brake bias, I'm going to do 4 clicks at 66%. So we still have more braking, of course, at the front wheels, but we have lowered a little bit. We have a little bit less braking, a little bit more at the rear, and hopefully this will help me to modulate better the braking power and have less lockups at the front. Okay, let's try to heat up our tires and see what we can do. For the people that have an eye for the details, you might have noticed that the colors and the visual quality might have been a little bit changed into this lap from the previous laps. And I'll be honest with you, real life got the upper hand on the previous series of laps. The wife called, the kid wanted some attention, all of that stuff, and then it became too late, and so a couple of days went by without me finishing the video. But in the meantime, I've managed to find a little bit extra image quality for the videos, and hopefully this will make my videos even more enjoyable for you. Okay, so let's try to heat up the tires, and I will, since the video is becoming way too long, I will spare you watching me hitting the tires and doing mistakes, and move on when I'm ready for the good lap. Alright, so let's try this lap. Important to have a very good exit from this last turn, so I will let the car slide wide here and get as much exit speed as possible so I can be faster into this start-finish line. Deep braking. Second gear. I got a little bit of entry oversteer, so I've lost the apex. But I kept it together, I think. Good entry here, and very good line. Let's keep it close to the curb here, and very good traction at the exit. Very good traction. Good traction there gives you lots of tenths of a second for this long uphill. Fifth gear. Hard braking. Third gear. Keep the car inside. I'm a little bit wide here, but alright. It stayed there. Very good apex. I've nailed this. Oh, I'm doing so much faster here. Not bad. I had to get a little bit wide there, but I think I didn't lost much time. Let's keep it inside. Good traction on the exit. Yeah. Approaching very hard braking zone. Second gear. And inside the curb. Alright. Going a little bit wide, but whoa, a little bit twitchy over the curb. Good apex and good speed inside the turn. Skip it inside there, fourth gear. That's it. That's a good lap. It had mistakes, but I think for the most of it, alright, 1:59.6. Very good. Very, very, very good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's enough for now. I will just hit the replay and let's see this lap time from the outside. So let's see it from the outside, and in the meantime, what we did today was, it was a pretty long video, It's a very difficult to explain material. Weight transfer is really hard. We will do a couple more videos with this regarding weight transfer. In this video we've learned that a stiffer car is indeed more precise. It moves less, it wants to follow our inputs better, but it is also more nervous, and so you have to be much faster with your inputs if you want the car to stay and do whatever you want it to do. So as you saw, we always need to compromise. You need to find the correct window of values for the springs, and then move a little bit up and down until you get it just right for you. Now in the next video we will see also what happens if we change just the front or just the rear, and how this changes the handling of the car. Maybe you could try it yourself, and we will also see what happens with the anti-roll bars in the same situation. So difference between front and rear, stiff or soft setup, and what to expect from the handling. And we will also see why in the setup of a car everything is correct. The thumbs of the rule of thumbs, but also the contrary of the rule of thumbs, because sometimes if you do the exact opposite of what the rules say, you'll get the correct results. All of this on the next video. Thank you, everybody.